And welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and highlights of tonight. The government goes to UB Ministry of Holiday. And in the international scene in Brazil, 14 death in Amazon plane crash. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. Following a violent weather that hit the Yubakisa prefecture in the Dakhel region on Sunday, September 3rd, the government immediately deployed a first wave of assistance to help affected families. This assistance included food kits and essential supplies. After a first phase of relief distribution, which took place a few days after the bad weather, the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity launched a field investigation in order to assess the damage caused. This survey made it possible to miraculously select beneficiary households using strict criteria such as vulnerability, disability, non-ownership, and family size. At the same time, the Djiboutian Social Development Agencies assist the state of damaged infrastructures and equipment with a view to rehabilitation. At the same time, a mission to evaluate and identify the benefits of housing from the Right to Housing Foundation of President Ismail Omar Guelleh took place in the sub-prefecture. This mission aimed to identify the most vulnerable households eligible to receive additional support, particularly in terms of housing. After this identification stage, a validation session of the lists and beneficiaries was held in the presence of the Minister of Social Affairs, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail Abdo, the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Hassan Hamad, as well as the General Director of the Right to Housing Foundation, regional authorities, local chiefs, and notable of Yubuki. The acting Prime Minister, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, accompanied by ministerial delegation, went to Yubuki to assess on-site the consequences of the bad weather and the electrical installations, which will be rehabilitated as soon as possible. At the end of this meeting, a ceremony was held to hand over the keys to a housing unit belonging to the President Ismail Omar Guelleh's Right to Housing Foundation, enabling 50 beneficiary households to reach their new homes. This important ceremony, held under the high patronage of acting Prime Minister Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, was attended by members of government, local authorities, parliamentarians, and notables from the region. President Ismail Omar Guelleh honored one of the sub-prefecture's notables by naming the new city Abdullah Ud Muhammadu. This initiative brought joy and relief to a 50 families who received the keys for their new homes, making a crucial step towards the resettlement of a disaster-stricken families. In all, 50 disaster-stricken households benefited from these social housing units, demonstrating the government's commitment to the most vulnerable population. At the instigation of the President of the Republic, work has also begun on rebuilding and rehabilitating the precarious housing of families who have not been yet rehoused. Following the devastating bad weather on Sunday, December 3rd, which affected the sub-prefecture of the Dakhel, the government sent a first wave of assistance to support affected families, consisting of food and non-food kits. After the first phase of aid distribution, which is a few days after the bad weather, a field investigation in order to visually observe the damage from the bad weather, and with the application of the rigorous criteria, the Ministry of Social Affairs and very carefully selected beneficiary households, taking into account factors such as vulnerability, disability, non-ownership, and family size. After this identification stage, which took place from Friday to Saturday, in preparation for the arrival of the interim Prime Minister, a validation session of lists and beneficiaries took place in the presence of the Minister of Social Affairs, the Minister of Infrastructure, as well as the General Director of the IOG Housing Right Foundation, and the regional authorities, the Prefect of Dakhel, and the President of the CR, Ukals, and Yubok notables. Acting Prime Minister Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon also went at the head of a strong ministerial delegation to the town of Yubuki in order to see firsthand the impact of bad weather in the current situation of the affected population. On arrival, the prefecture of Yubuki, the delegation met the affected population in households and also visited the various public services, the high school, health post, and electricity, which has suffered damage and which will have been rehabilitated as soon as possible. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed Burhan, received this morning Hassan Basma Hassan Officers Hotel, the President of the European Union's Political and Security Committee and Deputy Director of the European External Action Service, who is visiting Djibouti for a period of 3 months. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed Burhan, welcomed the President of the Political and Security Committee of the European Union and participants. This meeting testifies to Djibouti's ongoing commitment to international cooperation and diplomacy, strengthening stability and prosperity in the region. During the cordial and inclusive meeting. They exchange views on regional, international issues of common interest, as well as the opportunities for future cooperation. During this exchange, they discussed the exceptional diplomatic relationship between Djibouti and the European Union based on shared values. They also mentioned the importance of further enhancing friendly and cooperative relations, particularly in the political and security field.
adduunyada dhammaanteed udubkoodii baato adduunyada dhammaanteed udubkoodii baato haddaan arme jirin odayada gaboobiyo ubadkiyo haweenkiyo oryuma seexleen adduunyada dhammaanteed udubkoodii baato adduunyada dhammaanteed udubkoodii baato haddaan arme jirin odayada gaboobiyo ubadkiyo haweenkiyo oryuguma seexdeen ifka intaan ku nool
The second co-creation workshop of the Play to Learn project, funded by USAID and implemented by Mott MacDonald in cooperation with the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, the Ministry of Women and Family, UNFD, and the Sunnat Al Haya Association, was held today at the Sheraton Hotel. The aim of this project is to improve access to preschool education for all children aged 3 to 6 so that they can benefit from a quality inclusive education. The workshop launched by the USAID representative, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, the Inspector General, and the Director General of Education of the MEMFOP brought together participants from the above-mentioned institutions as well as UNICEF and associations. The aim of the workshop was to present the results of the first year of the Play to Learn project and to draw up the action plan for the second year with the various partners using a participatory approach. The Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, through its Environment Department, today organized an information and awareness raising workshop at the People's Palace to mark International Day for the Protection of the Ozone Layer. The theme of this year's International Day for the Protection of the Ozone Layer is Restoring the Ozone Layer and Reducing Climate Change, highlighting contribution of the Montreal Protocol to efforts to combat climate change. This theme encouraged all stakeholders to continue their exemplary actions to protect both the ozone layer and the climate as part of the implementation of the Montreal Protocol. The opening ceremony was presided by the Director of the Environment, Mr. Hussein Rirash, in the presence of Ms. Emma Nguano, NDP representative in Djibouti. The main aim of the workshop is to raise awareness among all stakeholders of the problem of ozone layer depletion and the measures taken at both international and national level to preserve it. Shifting gears towards the international scene now in sports, Sadio Mane and Cristiano Ronaldo continued their scoring streak in the Russian Saudi League by beating Al Raid 3-1 on Saturday. After a defeat with the Senegalese team last week, Sadio Mane scored his sixth Saudi Pro League goal for Al Nassr on Saturday evening. The Senegalese international striker put a smile back on his face, Al Raid opening the scoring in the 46th minute. In the second half, Brazilian under Taltica scored the second goal for Al Nassr, paving the way for Cristiano Ronaldo to score his team's third in the final quarter of an hour. 14 people were killed on Saturday in a plane crash in Barcos, a tourist town in the Brazilian Amazon, according to the authorities. The plane, a twin-engine turboprop B100 manufactured by Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer, missed its landing in Barcos in heavy rain, explained Amazon State Security Secretary Vinicius Almeida at a press conference. Well, but these are Blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and be sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.